What's up, guys? It's your boy Big Herb here. Just wanted to go and tell you guys, for starters, I know it's been a long time since I've done Herb's comic book journey. To be honest with you, I wanted to change this whole entire thing up a little bit. When it comes to it, I want to do more than just comics. I want to do reviews on other things, toys, TV shows, movies, food, things of that nature. Still want to do comic books, but I just want to expand on more reviews instead of just the regular comics. So with that being said, I figured with the very first review of the year, why don't we do something that's going to catch everybody's eyes? And if you have been under a rock these last 2 years, you know that today is the day, January 15th is the day that we actually come out with WandaVision. WandaVision is the first installment since the last MCU film, Spider-Man Far From Home. We've actually been feeling like Pookie from New Jack City. Like we just keep calling us. We need this. Like it's starting to itch just a little bit just thinking about this whole entire thing. This show is brought to you by Disney Plus. So shout out to Disney Plus for bringing this first content back of the year. And I have to say with this show, first off, you have been warned by Captain Spoiler. This is a spoiler review. So if you have not seen this episode, these first 2 episodes, I suggest that you go ahead, take the time out, go and watch it, then come back and then watch the spoiler review. So with that being said, let's get started on this review. So let's get into the first episode here. I want to say that starting off, I've noticed just in the trailers over the last few weeks, they've had like different episodes. It's supposed to be like different times and events throughout television, which I thought was pretty dope. Like in this first episode, you did get to see how it was like the Dick Van Dyke Show. I never really watched Dick Van Dyke as a kid, but I did have TV Land, so I've just put 2 and 2 together. Like even as far as like when Wanda was being carried into the house by Vision and she bumped into the door when Vision was able to walk through it. And you see that that he actually, like, he dropped her. That's something that you will see in Dick Van Dyke, like when he's walking through the living room and trips over the ottoman. That's Dick Van Dyke-ish. Then you go ahead and as they walk in, they're like this happy-go-lucky married couple now, and you see like, hey, they're very. Vision is very is putting out the fact, yes, I am a robot. But yeah, I gotta go ahead and before I walk out to work, I gotta switch into my other face, and it's just as just actually kind of dope. Just that they both know who they are. Like she knows that she has her powers, he knows that he's an android, and they still love each other, and that chemistry is amazing. I thought it was dope, and it's actually great to see that pretty much because throughout the whole entire time, we really didn't get a big, huge story like based on them. But they always had that love chemistry that was actually dope. But moving on, like as Vision goes to work, you see Wanda's at the house and she has a new neighbor that comes in. Her name is Agnes. Agnes really kind of throws me off a little bit because she's like super nosy and I really don't like that, but she's also really friendly. And I'm like, what's your motives? So that's my take on her. I just feel like she got something stuck up her sleeve. But then she always mentions Ralph, her husband. We never see Ralph in the first 2 episodes. But then she kept on. I feel like this is also a narrative throughout the whole entire point that has come up, and I'm getting ready to get to it. That children are always being asked in this episode, and the next episode is being talked about. Agnes is like, "Whoa, guys don't have any kids," and then she just kept saying like, "Yeah, you guys are pretty young. You should have kids." And then you get to what's the name? You get to Vision at work. Prior to him leaving for work, they saw a calendar that had a heart on the day that it was. I believe it was August 23rd, but I think that's besides the point. I think it's just a symbol of something happening. And it was basically their anniversary being mistaken for a boss's dinner, Vision's boss's dinner, which is, his name is Mr. Hart. So Mr. Hart, he's real hard ass, just always telling people like, yeah, you better make sure that this dinner is great or you're fired. And it's real Dick Van Dyke-ish. It was like, that's the one thing I have to say that I think Marvel did a great job with, trying to compare, like, make sure that they both are like the same as far as this whole entire visionary, pun intended, visionary of this whole episode. And I see that they're trying to make this a trend with every single episode, meaning every single episode is going to have a theme based on that TV show. And when the boss comes over, Wanda's acting kind of weird, and then he's like, hey, and Vision's like, hey, this is my wife. She's European, and this is why she's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's real cheesy. It's cheesy stick that I and it because it's real tight. It's like a Dick Van Dyke show. That's just the premise that they are. And then as all of this is going on, the children conversation keeps coming up. Mr. and Mrs. Hart comes over. They say like, hey, well, why don't you guys have any kids? Why don't you have any kids? Why don't you have any kids? Why don't you have any kids? And I just feel like that narrative is just being pushed on them so heavy. And even to a point to where, like, in the middle of them asking, Mr. Hart starts choking on his food, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, why don't you stop that? Yeah, stop that. Mr. Hart, stop that. And it's just like, so nobody's gonna panic like, oh, dude is choking over here, like, help him. And it gets to a point where the scene just gets real dark. Not visually, but just like the whole entire situation gets dark. To the point to where Wanda's like, Vision, go and help him. It's just like, the fuck is going on here? So, and then it goes to the point to where Vision does his magic, reaches in his throat, like right through here, and pulls it out. And so we're not gonna sit there and talk about how you just exited and just went inside of his throat. Pause. Just went inside of his throat and put out a piece of meat, and just like, we didn't just see what just happened. So, but then they just like, yeah, everything's gonna be great. Yeah. So Vision, as you come into my office tomorrow, I'm gonna give you a promotion. Yeah. Be sure you guys take care of tonight. What the fuck just happened? So, and then it gets to the point to where Wanda and Vision sit down, and they're like, yeah, so we don't have an anniversary. We don't even have rings. Yeah, we don't have rings. Ah, yes, we have rings now. Yeah, so yeah, that's really dope. And it's just like, what just happened? And then all of a sudden it just pretty much just comes to an end. But as it comes to an end, and it says on the show, the end, you start to come back, and then all of a sudden you have the Sword logo in the background with somebody taking notes on a notepad with the Sword logo on it. And it's like, yo, what the hell? This show is weird. It's good weird. Not bad weird, but just, bro, what just happened? It has you on the edge of your seat, making you want more. So that's the first episode. And then we go on to episode 2. Episode 2 is just as weird, and it's like, what the hell is going on? But it starts off with a situation kind of like how, remember I said in the first part, for the first episode, it had like a 50s Dick Van Dyke type of feel to it. On the second one, you had a Bewitched type of feel to it, because Bewitched was filmed in the 60s. And it was basically a guy, an astronaut, and his wife who was a witch. Just stuff just pops up. So then they start off as far as like, hey, the community's having a talent show. Let's go ahead and work on our routine. And Vision and Wanda are working on it. And then as Vision rolls out to the town and everything, Wanda gets ready to leave to go off with, what's her name? Agnes. You see that when she walks out, when Wanda walks out, she sees a toy helicopter in the bushes. And the thing that's so weird about it, it's not gray. It's all like color. It was Iron Man's color. So but it had the sword symbol on it. And it's just like, okay, are we gonna get to something? And then all of a sudden, Agnes just pops up out of nowhere like, hey, there's the star of the show. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, so they're working on a magic trick, but Agnes gives them a rabbit for their magic show tricks and everything. And one thing that Agnes is telling Wanda about is you got to watch out for Dottie. She's supposed to be the head honcho in charge. Dottie's a bitch in my opinion. I'm sorry. She's a real control freak. So, but yeah, it's just, yeah, I just don't like Dottie in this one. She's real bitchy and like she's trying to take over everybody. You even see you see the rest of the characters on the show at the meeting where they're sitting there trying to say, well, you go ahead and set up the tables, you set up the chairs, you set up this, that, and the third, and this is how everything is going to go along. But she's like real rude to everybody else, and it's just like you see where Wanda is talking to Monica Rambeau. Hopefully we'll find out who Monica really is in this whole entire episode. For the next couple episodes, because she is one of the main characters. But she gets to know her a little bit, but in the midst of her trying to get to know each other, Dottie's being a complete asshole and just fussing at them. And then all of a sudden, Wanda tries to work things out with Dottie, and all of a sudden, they just hear stuff on the radio like, Wanda, why are you here? Why are you here, Wanda? Can you hear me, Wanda? Can you hear me, Wanda? And both of them are looking at each other like, what the hell is going on? Gets pretty dark and intense to the point to where Dottie squeezes the glass in her hand and she has a cut. Now that cut shows that she is bleeding, and it's not black and white, it's actually blood red. And it's just like, wow, okay, where is this going? Then they cut off to Vision. He's meeting up with the neighborhood watch guys, and he's still trying to be aware of like, hey, I'm trying to make friends with everybody, but still concealing that he is an android. And but one of the funny things into it, where he actually said in the prior episode, I can't eat, I'm an android. He goes ahead, somebody offers him a piece of gum, and then he chews on it but accidentally swallows it. And then they even get back to like the 60s type of animation where you could see the gum getting down to his cogs, and then all of a sudden he's getting like drunk, I guess gum drunk, if you want to call it that. Yeah, so in the midst of the, what's the name? He's really self-aware as a robot, but it's just funny as hell to me that he just got drunk off of a piece of gum, off a piece of Big Red. But then all of a sudden, next up, you see that Wanda is getting ready for, she's the next person on the scene for the talent show. They do a magic trick. And then you see Vision just coming up there drunk, just stumbling and everything, all off of some gum. I thought it was kind of funny. It's that quirky type of Bewitched type show. Like the guy gets drunk, and then the girl that's bewitched, she's like making all the stuff just appear and everything, which leads into their actual act in the talent show, to where they have to actually get together and put the like make real magic look fake magic. Like he would go ahead and say like, yeah, so is this your card? They're like, no, this one, this, and and just keeps on going to where he had like the last card is his card. And it's just like, dude, that's no magic trick. But then like they turned it, I did like the fact that because Vision was so drunk in this situation where he picked up an actual piano, and here comes Wanda snapping into like a cardboard piano. Like, yeah, this is so super strong. Then he gets to a point where he have to do the disappearing act, and all of a sudden he locks the door, and Wanda's still out there. Like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, come on. And all of a sudden, they did the Alakazam, Alakazoo, and Monica Rambeau pops up in the box. And that is the end of the talent show. And Dottie's still looking at them like puzzled, like, oh my God, this is funny. Ha ha, you guys won the funniest, inaugural funniest show thing going, a trophy. And it's just like, this shit is weird. Like, bruh, what is going on? And all of a sudden, it gets really, really dark. Like, yo, what is going on here? And you have to sit there, and before I go into this, you have to talk about how we have to reiterate the fact that Wanda and Vision's chemistry is amazing. Then they get to the point to where they get home, and all of a sudden, Wanda's pregnant. Yeah. The fuck did that baby come from? And then they hear like some noise going on outside. Both of them go out there, and you see this guy coming out this street manhole, but he's wearing like some bee keeper clothing on. And then he turns around and looks at him, and Wanda's like, no. And just rewinds all the way back to where they actually are just sitting there in the, like she just found out she got pregnant. And I'm like, yo, can somebody please explain this weird shit to me? Then that's the end of the episode. I want to know what in the hell is going on. I feel like this whole entire thing is like, oh, and I almost forgot this part too. I'm sorry. In both of the episodes, they actually had commercial breaks. Now, the commercial breaks in them, I thought was kind of funny, but like, aha, because on the first one, they had they had the Stark toaster oven. And like, they didn't even say toaster oven until like the end of it. And then you seen like Stark Industries on the actual toaster. And then another one was like, they had a watch, but they also had the Hydra symbol on there. So it's just like, oh, you sneaky bastards, you. But I thought it was very clever. I thought I was like, huh? Ah, oh, word, huh? That's pretty much my whole entire response to both of these episodes. And it has me intrigued to the point to where I need to know what the hell else is going on. There's like a million Easter eggs in it. I'm not even going to go deep diving into that because that's a whole nother video. But yeah, I need next Friday to hurry up so I can like get something off, because apparently a lot of people has been reviewing the first two episodes, but they've also seen episode 3. And I want to know what the hell is going on with this episode 3. And the one thing that I also thought that was dope with this episode 2 is that Bewitched was originally in black and white. And then all of a sudden, it turns into color because the actual show transferred into color after, I believe it was like 70 something episodes. So I thought that was dope as well. This thing is like, one thing that the MCU is definitely great at, they're great at just going ahead and making sure that every single thing, the little details are going to be makes everything so much sweeter. And I appreciate them for that. I have to close this thing down though, because I've been on this thing for way too long. But until then, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you leave a comment down underneath and just hit the subscribe button, man. It don't take you nothing but click, and that's it. And if you want to get a notification, click on the bell, and that let you know when we're starting any new shows or any other content that we have on the channel. But until then, you guys take it easy. Peace.